What if I told you that the most dominant sprinter on the planet just ran her fastest ever season opener, and it came 3 days after a loss? That is the kind of sentence that stops you cold, because those two things are not supposed to go together. You lose a race, you go home, you regroup. You do not show up 3 days later, step into the blocks for your first 100 meters in 9 months, and run faster than you have ever opened a season before. That is not how this sport works. Except for Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, apparently that is exactly how it works. And if you want to understand what that means, not just for her, but for the biggest rivalry in women's sprinting right now, then stay with me, because this story goes a lot deeper than one race result. Let us start at the beginning of this particular 3-day stretch. June 5th, 2026. Rome. The Golden Gala Pietro Minia, one of the most prestigious Diamond League meets on the calendar. Jefferson-Wooden was not running the 100 that night. She was in the 200 meters. And the reason that race had the entire sprinting world locked in was simple. Standing in the lane next to her was Julian Alfred. This was the first time these two women had ever faced each other. The first time. Think about that for a second. Two of the fastest women alive, both born in 2001, both competing at the absolute peak of the sport, and they had somehow never shared a start line until that moment in Rome. The anticipation had been building for months. People had been debating it all winter. Who wins when they finally race? And then the gun fired, and we got our answer. Alfred won. She ran 21.93 seconds. Jefferson-Wooden crossed in 22.17. A clear victory for the Olympic champion. And what happened after the race told you something important about where Alfred's head is right now. She was measured about it. She said a win is a win, that she wanted to go faster, that she felt stronger than before and believed she could push harder through the second half of the race. She also said she expected the pressure from Jefferson-Wooden. That last line is worth sitting with. She expected it. She was ready for it. This was not a surprise performance. It was a confirmation. But here is a detail about that Rome race that matters a lot when you think about where both athletes are in their seasons. Alfred had been racing for weeks already. She had run 21.86 in Austin, Texas on April 30th. That was the world lead in the 200 at that point in the year. She was sharp. Her body was in race mode. She had already found that competitive edge that you can only build by actually competing. Jefferson-Wooden, on the other hand, was still early in her season. She was getting her legs under her. She came out of the blocks faster than Alfred. She actually moved first when the gun fired. But Alfred's strength through the back end of the race, where she is as dangerous as anyone in the world, closed the gap and went past her. Alfred won with power and calm. But the picture was not entirely one-sided. Now fast forward exactly 3 days. June 7th, 2026. Stockholm, Sweden. The Bauhaus-Galan Diamond League meet at the 1912 Olympic Stadium, one of the most beautiful old athletics venues in Europe. Jefferson-Wooden steps into the blocks for the women's 100 meters final. And this is where you need to understand the full weight of what she was about to attempt. This was not just her first race of the season in the 100. This was her first 100-meter race in 9 months. 9 months. The last time she had run the event before Stockholm, she was in Tokyo winning a world championship. Everything that had happened in between, the training, the preparation, the work, had been pointed at this moment, and she had no race sharpness whatsoever. No timing built from competition. No physical memory of what it feels like to push through the final 20 meters of a major race at full speed. None of that seemed to matter. She ran 10.84 seconds, and she won by a gap so large it almost looked like a different race. Behind her, Great Britain's Amy Hunt finished second in 10.97. That was a personal best for Hunt, the first time she had ever broken 11 seconds in her career, which is a landmark moment for any sprinter, and it barely registered because of what Jefferson-Wooden had just done. Luxembourg's Patrizia Van der Weken came in third with 11.05. The Netherlands' Nienke Bischops took fourth in 11.08. Zainab Dasso of Italy was fifth in 11.22. And Dina Asher-Smith, one of the most decorated British sprinters of her generation, a woman who has won world championship medals and broken European records, finished sixth in 11.24. Jefferson-Wooden was in a completely different conversation from the rest of the field. After the race, she spoke about what it meant to her, and the way she framed it was interesting. She called it her fastest ever season opener over 100 meters. She said it was very exciting for her. And you have to read between the lines there, because that is not just excitement talking. That is a sprinter doing math in real time. If this is where I start, where do I end up? To fully appreciate why this moment matters, you need to know who these two women are, because their stories are not just athletic, they are genuinely extraordinary. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden was born on the 21st of February, 2001. She grew up in the United States and ran at Coastal Carolina University, where she won the NCAA indoor 60-meter title in 2022. She had always been talented, always been fast, but the moment she truly stepped into the spotlight on a global stage came at the 2024 Paris Olympics. She was on the podium that night. She won bronze in the 100-meter final. She stood there and accepted her medal, while the gold went to Julian Alfred and the silver went to Sha'carri Richardson, who had been the reigning world champion going into those games. Jefferson-Wooden was on the mountain. She just was not yet at the top of it. That changed entirely in 2025. She went through the entire outdoor season in the 100 meters without losing a race. She lowered her personal best 3 separate times across the course of the year. By the time she arrived in Tokyo for the 2025 World Championships, she had posted the 3 fastest 100-meter times in the world that season. And then in the final, she ran 10.61 seconds. Championship record, the 4th fastest time ever run by a woman in the history of the sport. And her winning margin, 0.15 seconds, was the 2nd largest margin of victory in the history of the World Championships 100-meter final. She did not just win. She dominated in a way that had not been seen in that event in decades. She then won the 200 meters in 21.68. And in doing so, she became the first American woman ever to sweep the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x 100-meter relay at a single World Championships. The only athlete ever to do that before her was Jamaica's Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who pulled off the same feat back in 2013. Jefferson-Wooden now sits 4th on the all-time women's 100-meter list. The only names ahead of her are Florence Griffith-Joyner, Elaine Thompson-Herah, and Fraser-Pryce herself. She is 25 years old. Now let us talk about Julian Alfred, because to understand this rivalry, you have to understand what she came from and what she represents. Alfred was born on the 10th of June, 2001, in St. Lucia, a Caribbean island with a population of roughly 180,000 people. She grew up with almost nothing in terms of athletic infrastructure. She has spoken publicly about training on poor facilities, about running in her school uniform because she did not have proper kit, about going without the equipment and resources that athletes in wealthier countries take entirely for granted. Her father died when she was 12 years old. She left St. Lucia as a teenager to find better training opportunities, and eventually she landed at the University of Texas. What she did there was historic. She won 7 individual NCAA titles. She became the first woman in NCAA history to break 7 seconds in the indoor 60 meters. In February 2024, she won gold at the World Indoor Championships in the 60 meters. That was the first global senior championship gold medal ever won by a St. Lucian athlete in any sport. Any sport, on the entire island. In the entire history of international competition, nothing like that had ever happened before. And then came August 3rd, 2024. Paris, the Stade de France. It was raining. The track was wet. And Julian Alfred ran 10.72 seconds to win the Olympic 100-meter final, beating the reigning world champion and giving St. Lucia its first ever Olympic gold medal. The government declared September 27th Julian Alfred Day. The Millennium Highway on the island was renamed in her honor. A nation of 180,000 people had produced an Olympic champion, and the entire Caribbean celebrated as if it belonged to all of them. She came into 2026 as the reigning Olympic champion, a 2-time Diamond League 100-meter series champion. She won the series in both 2024 and 2025, and fresh off that 21.86 in Austin that put her at the top of the world 200-meter rankings. She was not slowing down. She was getting stronger. So here's where we stand. 2 sprinters, both born in 2001, both forged from circumstances that should have made elite athletics harder to reach. One owns the Olympic gold and the Diamond League series. The other owns the World Championship title and 4 of the fastest 100-meter times in human history. In 2025, they split the major prizes between them. In 2026, they have met once so far. In Rome, over 200 meters, and Alfred won. They have not yet raced each other in the 100. Their next confirmed clash in the 100 meters is scheduled for the 23rd of August, 2026, at the Kamila Skolimowska Memorial Diamond League meet in Silesia, Poland. That race is going to be one of the most watched athletic events of the year. You have an Olympic champion who came into this season in peak form, already with a world lead in the 200 and a Diamond League win over her biggest rival. And you have a world champion who, 3 days after losing to that rival, went out and ran her fastest ever season opener in the 100, a distance she had not competed in for 9 months, and won by a margin that made every other woman in that final look like she was running a different race. Jefferson-Wooden is also confirmed for the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene on July 4th. That is one of the biggest Diamond League meets in the world, held at Hayward Field, one of the greatest athletics venues on the planet. The month between now and Silesia is going to tell us a great deal about where both women are and how the season is shaping up. But let us come back to that number. 10.84, season opener, first 109 months. If that is her floor, if that is genuinely the worst she can run in a 100 right now because she has no race sharpness yet, and she still runs 10.84, then the ceiling of what this season could look like for Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is difficult to fully process. She ran 10.61 at her sharpest last year. She has gotten faster every single time conditions have aligned for her. What happens in August in Poland when both of these women are fully fit, fully sharp, both deep into their seasons, both with something enormous to prove? That question is why women's sprinting right now is as compelling as it has been in a generation. You have two legitimate claimants to the title of fastest woman on Earth. You have a rivalry with real texture. Rome, Paris, Tokyo, Stockholm, and now Silesia lined up on the horizon. You have two women who came from completely different backgrounds, both fought their way to the very top, and now they are looking directly at each other across the track, neither one willing to give an inch. 3 days, one loss in Rome, one statement in Stockholm, and now everyone is waiting to see what happens next.